streaming. Are we live streaming? Is that what's happening?
We're live
Is
streaming.
that what we're doing? Oh, I didn't know that. That's exciting.
Is it?
Yeah, I've never done that. All right, I guess I'll just stay quiet. So welcome to the Comedy Store podcast. How many people listen to the Comedy Store podcast? All right, yeah. Woo, woo. Sorry, Rick's not here. He has a hatred for leaving LA. And I'm kidding. He doesn't care. He just couldn't make it. But he said, try to carry the show so that people can see how much I'm needed. So, do you know what I mean? Like, because it's going to be pretty shitty without Rick shitting on me or anyone else in the vicinity, which he likes to do. But we're going to figure it out. This is exciting. We have a very special guest. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but this is the vice president of the Comedy Store, Eric Anderson. Guys, give him a round of applause. Let him hear it.
Thank you, Eleanor.
That's his first, this is his first time on stage, I believe.
Well, yeah, it's absolutely my first time on a podcast.
It's the first time on a podcast, on a stage. I'm going to can you hear him or does he have to get, I don't know, I always push people closer, like I feel like a
guy
get your
hand off the back of my
being
head,
aggressive. Oh, I'm the only one that gets my head pushed down? All right, thanks, guys.
The only one in this room.
No, Rachel got it. And, but yes, I don't know why I sit in the mic, eat the mic, eat the mic.
I could see that where you do that.
I'm a well-trained whore.
Woman.
And woman. I'm a woman.
Yeah, you are a woman.
I'm a great woman. And I love the Comedy Store. And I love that you're a part of the Comedy Store. Eric is now, how long have you been a part of the Comedy Store now?
Almost 5 years.
Almost 5 years?
Yeah, a little over 4 years.
Holy shit, that goes fast.
Yeah, it's like the blink of an eye.
Yeah, because when I first met you, it was at Lucky Strike.
Right, I was the general manager of Lucky Strike in Hollywood.
You, with all these titles. Isn't
there
that exciting?
And there's a Lucky Strike across the street right now.
Is it really?
Yeah.
We used to do stand-up comedy at a Lucky Strike on Hollywood Boulevard.
And for people who don't know, Lucky Strike is a bowling alley.
Yes.
Sort of a high-end bowling alley experience. So we had a room where you would do stand-up comedy while bowling is going on.
Yes. Unbelievable. Like you'd be in the middle of a punchline or right about to get to the punchline and you hear, yeah! And I'm like, I didn't finish the joke, guys. And like a baby's birthday party was going on or a kid. It was ridiculous. Everybody's running around.
The noise level was pretty intense.
Yeah.
I was like,
but they were my favorite shows.
Were they?
Pretty much.
It was, I don't recall what night of the week it was, but I was surprised when it was Laura who worked for me as a cocktail waitress came and suggested it in this extra room that we had. Could we do comedy in there, whatever night of the week? And we're like, all right. And I was like, but isn't it too loud? And she was like, no, we can make it work.
We'll figure it out.
Comics don't care. They don't care if nobody can hear them.
Comics love pain.
Yeah.
Laura was also a waitress at the Comedy Store. Hello, how are you? Laura was a waitress at the Comedy Store, and she was one of my, I'm going to say, top 5 worst waitresses that ever worked for me. She was very funny, beautiful girl. She bought me my favorite pair of slippers back from Brazil, I believe.
What was she doing in Brazil?
I let her go home over Christmas vacation.
Oh, that was very nice of you.
She was very
You let her go home because she wasn't a good waitress? Is that?
We didn't need her. I couldn't have Mitzi see that when I wasn't there. And I always made the Jews work on Christmas. That's fair, right?
I've always done that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Adam
that's how it
Egan
works.
runs the club every Christmas.
Who?
Day.
Yeah.
Adam. Yeah.
You know what's funny? You said his real name. We call him eBay. So
on the show, is it Adam eBay?
No, it can
That's
be.
much less Jewish, I think, eBay than
Egan.
Egan,
Yeah. We're where Adam came from. Adam, I've been playing the Tempe Improv.
Oh right, yeah. We're here. We are in Phoenix.
But this is Stand Up Live. He did Tempe.
Right, he did the Tempe Improv.
He was a manager there, and then he came to the Comedy Store. What's this manager? Oh, you're saying in quote like Tempe. He was a Tempe manager.
No, he's Tempe Improv, right? Is it the Improv? Is that where? This is Phoenix.
Oh yeah,
correct.
But
yeah.
He worked at the Tempe Improv. Yeah, which is like 20 minutes away. There you go. What did you call it?
Light rail stops down.
There you go. 5
light rail.
Light rail stop. That's
down.
Hard to say, guy.
Yeah.
God, you're fucking tripping me up. Everybody's writing in like right now. See, she needs Rick. I do. But no, it is a little further from here, but we're doing the podcast, doing shows there and at Stand Up Live, which is awesome.
Yeah,
by the way.
the whole festival is fantastic. I mean, really what a
nice.
treat.
Like a lot of things to do. It's
Yeah.
like I feel like really a part of something.
Yeah, you are.
I guess. All right, so let's go. So we were doing the Lucky Strike, and now you're at the Comedy Store. But here's the thing: like, I don't know if you know this, that the Comedy Store hit a really low. Not low. We like to call it the dead years / golden years, because when no one's watching, we could have a lot of fun.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of times, like a lot of the rooms were so dead and they'd be closed, and like, you know, one room would be doing comedy, the other one would just be closing, but no one really locked it up, so we would kind of play in that room.
What's play?
Well, I don't know if they're gonna put the disclaimer on, but we would play a lot of things, like, you know, like, hey, you want to see what the belly room looks like in the dark? That's
Game?
fun, yeah.
Did you not hear the podcast earlier today was with Nick Youssef and Ari and Tebow, Jason Tebow?
Oh, were they part of that anyway?
Yes. Well, so they were discussing the weirdest or the oddest place that they'd ever had sex, and then it became the weirdest place that they ever had sex in the Comedy Store.
Okay, that'll happen.
And all of them immediately disclaimed, "Oh, that was before you worked there, Eric." I was like, what am I, the
yeah, it
police?
was, because it was the dead years. It was the dead years. You weren't there.
No.
No.
Yes. No. It was during Mitzi's time.
Mitzi was still around, but she wasn't coming in and hanging out all night. It was very rare that she would come in and stay all night long. Like, she would come in to see a showcase, but she wouldn't, like, stay till 2, 3 in the morning. When I first started there, she would.
Right.
She would, like, be there when you're cleaning up, and I'm like, fuck, this lady's always here.
Eleanor
So-
was hired by Mitzi.
Yes, in
And was
1993.
a close companion of Mitzi's for a while, too, right?
Yes, I was her personal assistant. I worked there for 12 years as a waitress, but I also did like a lot of odd jobs because she, everybody would quit or she would fire them for no reason.
Why would she fire them?
Well, that's
Give
a
us a
lot
couple
of
of
cocaine.
reasons.
So you
Well,
gotta go. Or somebody had a hip replacement and they couldn't get up the stairs anymore, but he'd been with the company for 17 years, so he had to go. And he got fired. But there was like things like that. Or we had a talent coordinator who would drink a lot and he didn't come in on Mondays. And everybody would say, oh, he called in sick. It was something he ate. Like he had a stomach virus.
So
And
what? But
then-
why is it important for the talent coordinator to be there on Monday?
Oh, because all the comics call in. It's the busiest day. All the comics call in for spots during the week.
Right.
So
And then Monday
they
night
have
is
to-
also potluck and showcasing.
At this time, it was only on Sundays.
Oh.
We only had Mitzi had moved Monday showcase. It originally was Monday night was potluck night, and then she moved it to Sunday when Monday Night Football started because it used to interrupt, which was weird because in California it kind of ends early, like 8:30.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's on.
So, but the potluck did start at 7, so she switched it to Monday. And I mean, she switched it to Sunday. But then we were so slow, it became Sunday and Monday. Then for a while, it was Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And there were times, like, when I was her assistant, like, I mean, we were like one check away from, like, if she bounced a check, they would lose the club. Like, it was that bad. But, like, we would always have, like my mom says, borrow from Peter to pay Paul. We would have the La Jolla. I almost
Club.
said Long Beach. La Jolla Comedy Store would, was making a lot of money, so they would pay for us. Or we have one great show, Fat Tuesday. Really, we sold so much that night that kind of kept us going. But it was a really dark time, like nearly closing. People were like, Paulie was measuring for strip poles. It was weird. Like, shit was happening. He was like, dude, right here, right? You're still young
you're
enough
doing a
to
good
work
Pauly.
it,
that
right?
was good. You sound like the Wheeze.
Dude, you're going to do it. I can't wait to see you strip, right? You're still going to work here? I'm like, nope, I'm not going to do this, Paulie. But when you got there, you guys made such an impact, you and Adam, together. It's changed so much. Now, like, as a comic, because I've only been doing stand a little over 10 years, I'll walk in the original room or the main room, see how busy it is, and I'm like, fuck, I can make more money as a waitress tonight. I get mad. I'm like, this is bullshit. Because I watch the waitresses, and I'm like, they're moving too slow. What the fuck is happening right now? I could get 50 drinks to that table there. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, of course. I mean, they're.
But in my head, I'm like, oh, I can make so much money off these people.
Yeah.
And that's weird. I should be like, oh, I should think about the jokes I'm going to tell. But I'm like, no. I can make money.
Yeah.
But you're part
But you're
of
playing
that.
to a full room, though, too,
That's
when
what
you
I'm
go
saying.
on, right?
Yeah. And you're part of that transition, a big part of that. So how did you do that? Let me rephrase.
Well, I was saying to somebody the other day that the big change that we made was changing the vibe of the club. When I got there, it's like you're saying, it was very dark.
Very dark. People were afraid to come.
Yeah, exactly. And comics were afraid to come. I
Uh-huh.
think that was really one of the big things, is that comics were afraid to come to the Comedy Store, which seemed nonsense to me.
Yeah.
And so we really worked hard to change the vibe of the club, that it was more welcoming and open, and that
true.
made the biggest difference, I think. And that, and then honestly, I think Brenton Biddlecombe, who does our social media, made a huge difference
Truly.
in getting the word out that the club had changed and that the vibe of the club had changed.
Yeah, social media really took a big difference. And I think getting rid of and it's going to sound harsh, but we shit on them all the time, so you guys are used
Yeah,
to it.
on this show.
Oh, yeah, not you. Well,
And look
we'll
at that,
get to
I'm
you.
guessing on who it might be, but go ahead.
We got rid of the old town coordinator. Eric got rid of him. I hired him. How weird is that?
It's the beginning and end of Tommy.
Yeah, what? Tommy was the town coordinator. Oh, he was buddy with Paulie? Yeah, a little bit. He became that way, but Tommy was so good at talking to people. Like, he really did have a calming voice. Like, we needed a body to answer phones. And it was like...
Are you justifying hiring Tommy? Is that what's going on right now?
In a way. I'm speaking up for myself because no one's going to speak up for me. But in a way, what happened was we were so behind. We had nobody working the phones. It was happened to be a weird, busy time. And we were like, we just need a body. And Red Rob, who was the manager, I was like, just hire this guy. And he's like, who is he? I go, I don't know. He has a guitar. He'll just sit up there. And he did. He sat up there for like 12 hours and just answered the phone and played a stupid guitar. And so he playing his guitar, doing all this stupid shit. And Mitzi would call and he would talk to her and calm her down. And that's how he got in with her. And then Duncan Trussell was our other town coordinator. And Duncan was like, I'm going on vacation. And I was like, you're not coming back, are you? And he's like, no, I'm not. And he never did. And then Mitzi was like, well, let's put Tommy in there. He'll do it. She used to call him her cookie because he was so sweet, a little sweet cookie. That was her thing. And then Eric came along and was like, oh, Eleanor hired you? I'm fucking firing you.
No, I don't think that's how it
Wait
went
a
exactly.
minute. How did it go? But yeah,
he just didn't fit in with our
The
vision
vibe.
of the future for the Comedy Store.
Which is something he would say to everybody. Well, you don't really fit in with what we're doing here. That's what he would say to comics to scare them.
So can I ask a random question?
Please ask a random question.
So was the Ice House a big competitor to the Comedy Store back then?
No. I don't think it ever was.
It's not that close in proximity to the Comedy Store, and it's a very different sort of club. But I'll tell you this: the Ice House is the oldest comedy club on the West Coast. So, and it's a great club.
It really is.
Yeah.
Obviously living in Phoenix, I don't.
Well, okay. Remember how you said Tempe, was far from here?
Yeah.
It's a little even
It's
further.
even further than that. Yeah.
So it's like it's good separation, kind of. And they also, like he's saying, it's the oldest club, so they geared it like they would have somewhat older comics. Doing like I believe Leno used to. Was that the place he went? Oh no, I'm thinking of the
Comedy and Magic.
Comedy and Magic Club. He goes to that one, which is also far away, and has been
Gabriel
there a long
goes
time.
there a lot.
Yeah.
Rogan used to,
Rogan
goes
used
there
to
pretty
do his
regularly and
Chronicles
uses
there.
his podcast out of there.
Yeah,
out of the
I did
Ice
it.
House.
It was called the Ice House Chronicles.
Yeah.
So I mean, and not to cut you short, but I want you to stay. Are you going to stay with us to play
I'll
with?
stay
Okay,
if
good.
Brody.
We're going to
if
have
Brody
the
Stevens is
great
coming up
Brody
here.
Stevens join us if you guys. Oh, I'm sorry. You want me to wait on Brody? That was weird.
I love Brody. What about Adam? What's Adam's role at the Comedy Store?
Adam Eget is the town coordinator. So he's one of the
Correct.
greatest.
He took over for Tommy.
He's one of the greatest guys in the world. And I have to say that because
You wanna
I
get
don't get
stage time.
spots
Right,
if I
that's,
don't. So yeah, he's terrific. Smart guy. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Good looking. You left off
So
good
good
looking.
looking.
So good looking.
Big penis, which
Right.
is weird.
Oh, enormous.
Weird to bring up.
Yeah.
Guys,
Yeah.
speaking of big penis, we're gonna. It's a terrible segue, Brody. Terrible segue.
It's not big. It's average. Thank you.
It's average. Brody.
I would say average.
Stephen Brody Stevens,
You
ladies and
got
gentlemen.
it.
You got it.
Brody protects little Steven.
Now Brody's an Arizona guy.
Went to college here.
Went to college, so he's
Arizona State. You got it.
You got it. Are they lose? Did
Podcast.
they lose, or are they losing to USC right now? Keep
I
that
don't know.
quiet. Okay, we're not talking about it. I get it. I get it. So Brody, you were there at the Comedy Store.
Yeah, Comedy Store
Quite a long
podcast. I'm here right now. Yes, you got it. Push.
True, and you have done the Comedy Store podcast before. I believe we got interrupted by some
Dice.
phone calls.
Andrew,
yes, Andrew Dice Clay.
If you're going to get interrupted, have it be Dice.
That's one.
Andrew Dice
That's a
Clay?
good one.
I was honored.
Never heard of him. I like this guy. All right.
Can they pick
That's
up
a
the
guy
audience?
I can
Is
date.
the audience mic'd up?
No.
Okay.
No, but we'll have him yell it out if we need it.
I would say
Right.
yell or don't interact. I mean, but
Oh,
I'm
there you go.
know.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know me, Brody. I like
They should have a
crowd
mic
work.
for the audience. All right, here we go.
You're right.
Yes.
Here we go.
I'm
you
here,
got it.
and Arizona, and
It's
the
been
Comedy
great,
Store.
the festival, right?
Festival has been really, organized, good vibe, laid back, professional, good food.
Oh, yeah.
Hotel's nice. The restaurant's nice. The little pop-up studio is cool,
It's great.
and it's good. Like I was mentioning on one of the videos we were doing how it's an organized festival. You do a lot of comedy festivals, and they're not organized, or they're making excuses and this and that. This thing, you got the shuttle vans on time. You got everything.
Everything's
moving.
going.
Nice little sponsorship. It's a nice vibe. So I'm having a good time.
That's going to be the word of the podcast, vibes. Because
Yeah, there
that's
you
what
go.
we were
That's
talking about.
Oh,
Vibe.
vibe?
The vibe at the Comedy Store.
The
Yeah, the
Comedy
vibe
Store,
matters.
that the vibe changed when technically they got rid of Tommy, but also when Eric. And Adam just took it over, the Comedy Store. I mean, Adam was doing the booking and stuff, but Eric was doing the shape of the club, the actual business of the club, which is not an easy thing. And then lifting that vibe, black cloud, if you will. I hate to say we lifted the black off the black building, but you know what I mean? Like, it did become a different place, don't you think? Not a different place, but a better vibe, a more positive.
Yeah, I mean, I've been performing there since like 2000. I got passed. So I had a beer. I normally don't drink, but hey, that's how good this festival is.
Yeah.
That it caused
causing you
me
to
to
drink?
Brody's
True
drunk,
story.
guys. This
No, I'm
is
a little
great.
buzzed. I
Want
am
to do some
buzzed.
shots? Let's get some
No,
shots.
We
no.
could do that if.
No, because we have a show later, so I'm a little.
Hey, man.
I'm a little
let's-
tipsy.
Do you
So
know how great the show would be?
I could use a water actually, if there is. I'm being for.
Are you barking orders at the crowd that's not mic'd?
Yeah.
No, I have a dry mouth. We're on the show.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
The Comedy Store, yes, the vibe changed. I think it was a combination. Yeah, people don't realize that Eric came
Yes.
in there like he's a fixer. He's like the the bar rescue guy. Just came in.
Absolutely.
No, he came in.
No,
it
it's
was like
true, though.
just professional, friendly, but business, and got stuff done. And then guys talk. You could talk to some of the door guys. They know what's going on. I talk to door guys. I talk to waitresses, but I talk to the door guys, and they know. And Eric's a big part of it. I'm not just saying that. Adam Eget from the Tempe Improv,
Yes,
who
we
I
were just talking about
Adam
that.
grew up in the Valley with me. I've known Adam since his childhood.
Were you guys bar mitzvah together?
Well, I wasn't bar mitzvahed, but he grew up with Berzello. Mike Berzello, the
Yeah.
coach of the Cubs.
Yeah,
Like his
absolutely.
family grew up with Berzello's
Oh,
family.
that's awesome.
So
That's
Adam
awesome.
went to Joe Torre baseball camp out in Encino as a kid. So I've known Adam. I've known the
What was your
Egets.
part in the Joe Torre Baseball Club?
Yeah. Brody.
I was a camper, and then later on I graduated to being able to drive the kids home. A camp driver. And then I
There's
was
been no accusations in that, right?
no
Okay,
accusations.
no, I'm
Thank
just saying.
God.
I'm
Just
safe.
me too, me
I'm
too.
clean. So yes, Eric, Adam. I also feel that the Rogan coming back
But
was
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
good.
them getting them to feel safe to come back
Yeah.
to this kind of shitty environment.
I mean, for me, I wrote about. I mean, I guess I was like when I got there. I was telling somebody it was intimidating. It was a scary place to go.
Yeah.
And then I would have my late night spots, and I was around I kind of wrote above the craziness, to be honest. I saw it, but maybe I just got used to it. It's a Comedy Store. You're used to craziness, chairs being thrown, fighting.
Somebody throws chairs?
Oh yeah. It was loose. Like I would say now, yeah, the comedians kind of police the place, but back then it was more like they ran the place, and I don't feel like. I feel like it's a nice mix now. Like comedians can do what they want, but there's somebody who's like closing up shop, and we know when that room, like a green room area, or like people respect that. Whereas before they would push it a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I feel like before, of course, the inmates used to run the asylum, and that's because like we going back to what you were saying with Mitzi not being around all night or only coming in at a certain maybe 2 days a week, she wasn't there. But there was no fear. Like before, when I first started, she would show up. We would all be like, "Uh-oh, Mitzi's here! Background action! Everybody move! Do something! Pick something up!" We would be terrified.
Yeah, move.
But
You gotta look busy.
You don't want it, even if it was
get the
slow.
notebooks out.
Pretend-
You're writing jokes, tagging.
Do something. Everybody move, because that's how she was. But now it's like I feel like it's come back because people are like, "Oh shit, Eric's here!"
Really?
Like. Yeah, like in a good way though. Like we got to
That's-
be working. Like,
Yeah.
the problem.
Are you saying from like comedian point of view, or from because you were a waitress there,
Waitress.
so you're saying from that? Okay.
Yeah, from
that's
the
a whole
from
maybe.
the staff. But if you can keep the staff,
So that explains it.
And if you can keep the staff organized,
and
then everything else kind of falls into.
I mean, that's another thing. The girls and the guys and everybody, it is like a finely tuned rock and roll machine back there, and they're not. It's good energy.
And that's the other thing that's going back to the vibe.
Fun.
They enjoy. Hopefully, they enjoy
They
where they
love
work,
it.
and they're having a great time. And that, to me, is important in any establishment that you run. That's a service-oriented establishment. That the staff likes what they're doing and where they're at, and then your guests will pick up on that vibe.
Absolutely.
You'll feel like if you go into a place where that the management is mean to the staff and the staff feels beaten down and stuff like that, you pick up on that vibe right away, I think. And I think now when you come into the Comedy Store, the staff is happy, the place is busy, people are making money. So you do the phenomenal late night, show in the main room, and you do it in front of an audience. Where I'd say, when I first got there, around 1 o'clock, there wasn't anybody left in that room, in any of the rooms, really. I mean, there was like 4 or 5 comics left, and then whoever was at the end of the lineup got to go on in front of those 4 or 5 comics for as long as they wanted to go on. But now you come to the end of our shows, excuse me, and there's an audience to play for.
Yeah.
And maybe it's, maybe one night it's 15 people, but some nights it might be 40 people.
Yeah, it's
sometimes
till
it's been 100.
closing.
It's been
sometimes
crazy.
it's 100 people.
Yeah.
So I think that's a different vibe where, the staff can, is working in a busy room where they have the potential to make, really great money all night long. But the comics can come in at you can have almost any spot on the show, and you're going to play to a good audience. I think that makes a whole big difference.
Yeah, I mean, I do that main room on Fridays and Saturdays, and I'm going on at 12:45 sometimes, and I've always have fun. Never, and it could be, it's never like, sometimes it's less than others, but it's always good. You get the belly room now going on. It's just
crazy. I think I did it the main room a couple weeks ago, and there had to be 150 people in there at that late hour. Right before you.
They're there.
Yeah.
It's,
I was like, this is great, because this is also not only the vibe, but then they're staying to see Brody. Like, they're Brody fans. They're like, oh shit, we watched this guy
and
before.
you get a following with that show
Exactly.
too. Like everybody knows that you're going to close the show, and it becomes your spot, and people are turning up even later for the show just to see your portion of
Holtzman
it.
too. He does his thing.
Brian,
Holtzman, he'll
sure.
dim the lights. I bring him up. It's different.
He
I
does
love
do
doing
his
it.
thing. That's true.
I love doing it. But you're talking about other clubs, and I was thinking about why the Comedy Store is the way it is, because I'm not going to name these clubs, or a club, but I call in I do my avail. It's okay to play other. It's the way it is. You
gotta make money.
You're all professionals, and you're all out to perform, right? So we're not
but you
the
do
only.
have some loyalty.
and
there
that's
is
fine,
human
but-
element involved.
But we're only putting most comics on for 15 minutes to 20 minutes. So there's a lot of night left ahead of you.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I have no expectation that you're only coming to the Comedy Store.
Okay.
I've never had that
I
expectation.
didn't know that. Let me changes everything. Thank you. But some of the other clubs, they're corporate, too corporate. Meaning, for me personally, what happened was I could think of a specific thing. You put in the veils. This one particular place, you're putting them in like it's a new system, and it's like 3 weeks of advanced.
Oh,
so
yeah.
3 weeks advanced, then you get an email confirmation, and then you have to email back ASAP, and if you don't,
You don't get a spot.
the spot
It
goes
actually
away.
says it in
So
the
it's like
thing,
just negative
ASAP.
energy. You're reading negative
Absolutely
energy.
right.
Yeah, I don't like ASAP in any email. That always makes it actually just annoys me.
Yeah, that's that.
Of course,
that-
anybody who ever hears this podcast is going to probably send me all emails with
ASAP.
ASAP.
That's how the Comedy Store works.
Yeah, I know. So,
It
a lot of
made
comics.
it made me appreciate the Comedy Store. And then beyond that, it went to like me having to shift something around, and I got another email like, well, you can do this, but you can't. And it's like it makes. Then you go look at the Comedy Store. You call in your veils or text them in whatever
On Mondays.
and then they call you back or text you back, and then you show up. You don't have to like let the club know I'll be there, and
Promise.
And if you don't,
Promise,
like, your
promise.
spot goes. It's like you treat each other,
With respect.
and then if you have to move things
like you're
around,
saying,
But
everybody's fun.
but
Yeah.
it made it me this club like it was just. I could see why that particular club is not what it is, because they're not the comedians.
Yeah.
You want to be like have the comedians be so. It comes back to the comedians. It comes
back to what he's saying, like make it in a fun environment. Like I was teasing, saying like the girls are like, oh no, Eric's here. But what I mean is that it's an authoritative presence. It's not a mean presence. It's like, okay, we're a real
See
business.
a little bit of that,
But we're
but not much. I
Well,
mean,
thank
you're
you.
good.
I mean,
you're
I'm
good.
mean, but I'm not super mean.
No, it's, you're no.
I want
Like
you to
I
start
think what
hitting
Eleanor's
the
saying is
Waitstaff
right.
I'll start
the
by
way-
hitting you.
Yeah,
How about
well,
that
I hope
right
so.
now?
It's
That's
the only way I get off.
But
So-
you also, Eric, you don't try to be.
Thank you.
I mean, you have a good sense of humor, but you don't. Let the comedians. You don't.
You let them
you don't,
be them.
But you also don't like take their energy away. I'm
Oh,
not saying
yeah.
some people will do that. Some people. I'm not naming names anywhere.
I'll name names.
Well, there's.
Right.
But there's sometimes employees or even comedians will kind of like you're getting you kind of like have a feel for comedians.
No.
Like you understand their
Yeah.
space and when to talk to, when not to, how to. I pick up on that with you.
Well, I honestly try to treat everybody at the club the same. I don't. It doesn't
really?
matter that your level of. I mean,
And
I
that's
try to
the
treat
best way
everybody
to
with
do it.
respect and be professional and some of them I know better than other ones and maybe I joke around with them, but I try to be respectful of all of the comics in the same way so that it doesn't seem like I'm like, oh, it's
He's only
so
nice
and
to
so.
her,
Yeah,
or
he's only nice to
him,
and I
yeah.
think for me that works.
So it's not genuine.
That works best. Exactly. That's my.
Nothing's genuine in Hollywood.
But I genuinely like the comic. I mean, I genuinely like my job, and I like all the people that are there. And the big difference that I saw that we needed to do was to make the club welcoming to comics, which is what I
Yeah.
didn't think we were. I thought it was
Really?
I thought it was exclusive and
It was like a
mean
boys'
to
club,
some
if
people
you
and
will.
stuff.
on that.
Yeah, when I first got there, and I was like, why do certain comics never come here? And I
I mean,
understand
they
like
didn't. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
no, I
like
mean, like,
no.
wouldn't come at all.
Think of Greg Fitzsimmons. He
But I
never
remember
came there.
Seinfeld. This
Never
is
came.
maybe I'm gonna say 10 years ago. 10 years ago.
Okay.
And he was at Fox Sports doing a pilot thing, and I was the warm-up guy, and I mentioned Dice. He says, "Oh, Dice still performs." I go, "Yeah." He goes up to the Comedy Store. I go, "That's still going on?" Like I remember Seinfeld said that, but that was 10 years ago. I'm thinking like. Now the Comedy Store is the #1 spot, and Dice, of course, everyone knows
and
Dice.
Seinfeld came last year and performed,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did, and he complained about how mean Mitzi was to him the whole time.
which is awesome.
Which was awesome
Yeah.
because she was very honest, and she did pass him. She made him a paid regular, but then she didn't see where he fit in. His comedy never.
Spoke
She
to
never
her.
got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, which is fine. And she always told me, "Oh, he's just awful," and I was like, she actually told me some crazy shit, but I can't say all of it. But that one, I remember like her being like, "Yeah, he just didn't work for us," and I was like, "Wow, it's Seinfeld. He had the
Oh,
number
really?
one show." Yeah, and
Well, he's
but
a New York guy. He
he's
had to
a New
fight.
York
He had
guy.
to earn his LA
But
He
he
stripes.
is, but he
left.
bought a house down the street from Mitzi after he became successful.
Oh, he did
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
spite her.
I don't know whether it was to spite her.
the
I'm just
sad
telling you
thing
that
is-
that's where he bought a house.
It doesn't
So-
even bother her because she wouldn't even notice. That's
I
my
want
favorite
to
part.
because this is a this is a Comedy Store podcast. I want people to know like my history.
Yes.
Oh,
You know,
well,
I
that's why we're
feel
here.
no, but I grew up in the Valley. Grew up in the San Fernando Valley.
818.
818 till I
Till you
die.
die.
And my mom dated Jack, who lived on Holloway over there on
Oh, that's
Holloway
closer to
and-
me. That's my
and,
neighborhood.
Altaloma. You know where
Okay.
that is,
Yeah,
okay?
right up there.
absolutely.
So this is
Yeah.
like in the 80s. So in the 80s, and he had a patio. I could always see the Comedy Store, the lights of the Comedy Store.
Really?
But this was in the 80s.
Yeah.
So I always would see I never knew about it, but
It's like a long distance relationship.
yeah, I
That's
just
a
remember
long-
the flashing lights
Right.
of the. You could see it from there. And when I first did comedy, tried it, was back in '93. I took a workshop at UCLA, and it
Oh.
was Pauly Shore's sister ran it.
Sandy
Seashore.
Sandy Seashore.
Yeah.
And I took it specifically.
That's her middle name. We
because
didn't make
it
it up.
No, you're
because it
lying.
was the Comedy Store.
I didn't know that.
I felt like I had a connection with the Comedy Store. And I saw that Sandy was teaching that course, so I felt like I'm going to learn this Comedy Store. I felt connected with it. I had a Comedy Store binder. And so, yeah, and we would take our
That's so
class.
cute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I still, but I'll tell you real quick. We do the class over at UCLA on a Tuesday night, do like 2 minutes. And then after the class, I always drive by the Comedy Store. This is 1993.
I was there.
You were there, okay?
Last
Yeah, I
time.
drive by the Comedy Store and I go like one
Hitting on
day.
Andrew Dice Clay. Nice.
Wait a minute. Wait
Yeah,
a
sorry.
minute.
Go ahead.
I'm very focused.
Yeah.
Very
Very
You are.
focused.
Sorry.
That wasn't until 2000.
Right.
Anyway, go ahead.
But I would drive by and I go, yeah, one day maybe. One day. And then we had our graduating class there, and I got to perform right there in the original room in '93.
Yeah.
That was my first time, and so when I consider myself a Comedy Store comedian in my various what I do. I'm at the prime time. I can do it all. I can play all the different
We
spots.
know that.
Of course.
You
But
guys know that.
I'm just loyal to it. I'm not a bandwagon Comedy Store guy, so I take
Oh,
pride in that. You know
absolutely.
what I mean? I was there.
You
before
made your bones
and
there.
before.
Yeah.
Late night, and Tommy, to be honest, always gave me a couple spots a week, which was nice. And he says, if you're in town, you got a Friday, Saturday. Always got one on like after the hump, which was fine, and I'd like lead into Don Barris. But yeah, Tommy was good with that. But I never had main room spots. Never ever anything in there. And then
Interesting. You mean with Tommy? I didn't
never
know that. I guess I didn't pay attention.
until the very end, because maybe 5-6 years ago I was going to go do La Jolla, and he said, because you're going to do a longer set, why don't you go up in the main room at the end and do like 30 minutes
And work on the hour.
to do La Jolla. So
Right.
I did it, and then I ended up doing La Jolla, and then Tommy kept giving me that late night spot. So I said, okay, I'll keep doing it, and then I fleshed it out to the point where I taped my special, which is in. Who knows what's going to happen with that? CISO went away, and I'll still continue
It'll
to do
get
my
out
spot.
there.
Right.
But yeah, Tommy, he gave me that spot to get ready for La Jolla, and I just kind of kept doing it.
Yeah.
And
you owned it.
Yeah, thank you.
And you built something out of
It's
it. It's
true,
a great.
'cause now
if
everybody
you've
wants
never
to
been
do
to
it.
the Comedy Store late night, Brody does. He's
Extended
the last.
set.
Yeah, he does. He's the last act on, and he does an hour, sometimes
sometimes.
more.
Wait a
set
minute.
at
But
the
I'd say,
very-
I'd
All
say
of a sudden you're
average
close.
45.
I come and take a temperature of the room,
Right.
somewhere around the hour mark, and then we go from there, right? So,
Yeah, but it's
Eric comes in.
the late night thing. It's you got to read the audience because you don't want to keep them against their will.
Exactly.
You got to read them and also not give them shtick. They don't want to see shtick when they've seen everything, and they
No.
don't want to be berated either.
Yeah.
So you got to be kind
no,
of.
it's a very interactive show too. I mean, you've built it, you've made it your own.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I think a lot of people turn up just for it when they know that you're on the late night spot.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I have fun with that. Yeah, and you read it. Sometimes they want jokes. Sometimes they want a little. I'll interact with the comedians, and then sometimes.
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
do them.
that's
It
my
just,
favorite.
I'm just lucky I have it. I keep doing it, and but I'm not gonna. I always have fun doing it, and so.
Yeah.
I'm not there this weekend. Who knows? Maybe I'll be.
Well, it probably
Maybe somebody
holds
new,
now.
fantastic, is taking over that.
Wait
spot.
a
You
minute.
never know.
Don't do that to a comic. Are you
I know.
nuts?
What am I thinking? It's
Like Lou
Oh my
Gehrig and Wally
God.
Pipp. So I just want to
He
say,
might leave now to close the main room.
but specifically for this podcast, and then you're here, Eric, and I just want to say, say that, yeah, the Comedy Store is real, foundation, and it is nice to see, everyone doing their thing. I just hope it continues. And
Yeah.
us too.
No, absolutely. Like when I see Brody, I think him as family. I now think of you as family. But he really was. I remember Brody from the graduation class to coming back to getting past to just really
Eleanor.
doing the grind and
Yeah, I've been
becoming
lucky,
Brody,
yeah.
becoming
Well,
Stephen Brody Stevens.
You
even.
got
You
it.
switched whatever you want to do. You're good at it.
Yeah, those original room spots, those
Those were brutal. I used to
those-
watch them. I'd be picking up my drinks like, oh, how does he do this?
They were hard. And it was a.
And then I decided to do
Jeez,
comedy.
Eleanor.
No, I'm saying because I would, as a waitress, I was watching the comics like, the fuck are they doing? There's 6 people in here, and most of them are like, pissed off or drunk, or they pissed off their date and their date left. So they're like, I'll sit and watch this fucking guy,
But
and
it
then
used to
you go
be-
on
Yeah.
and you get them to come around. And so that was
Enjoy it.
inspiring to me.
Oh, thanks.
Like I never wanted to be a comic at that point, but I was like, wow, how the fuck did he do that? Like, and now I get to do it late night. Like
Yeah.
I'm learning. I'm in the grind like you were.
Yeah, it was. I was never like scared doing that room, but it was.
Never.
You have to be like on your game. But back then, I remember it would be like darker. That room was darker.
I'm telling you.
If you, I couldn't
Darker
really,
light-wise
just-
or just darker vibe-wise?
no darker
or-
light.
All of it.
Light.
Dark, light.
It was darker, which made it a little more. I mean, you can turn the lights down anyway, but I'm saying overall, it was.
I
It was
mean,
like-
if it's better, maybe I would turn the
No,
lights
I
up,
said
but-
no.
Okay.
I
You know how
liked
it
it
is
up a
when
little bit.
Holtzman goes on?
Oh, like that.
It felt like that.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
Not
So-
because of Holtzman's comedy. I'm just saying, like,
No,
the
no,
lights
no,
are
no.
dark. Yeah, he likes a spot. Like, the room's dark and
Yeah,
Holtzman's in
but
a
like
spot.
in the main room, me personally, I mean, it's like those are like that's a lot of people.
That's
but,
like an incubator.
but-
That's a lot of lights.
Yeah.
But that original room, it was hard. But then you got like literally like something. You're like reaching out for like somebody to help you. So
Yeah.
you'll hear a voice.
You're looking
"I
for a
need help.
lifeline." Yeah.
Throw me something. Whereas now you can kind of see people a little more. Oh, you over there. It's a little more. Plus the mood is a little lighter, but.
Now it's a lot lighter, but I mean, back
Yeah.
then it was still like that kind of dreary.
But even Sunset Strip went through a lot
Oh,
of like
Oh, yeah, yeah. a lot
negative
of changes
energy, and then coming, the House of Blues, getting that vibe, whatever concert was going on across the street.
Do you remember when they built the House of Blues or no?
I came here like right about when that was happening.
Were you there before when Mitzi
Yeah.
owned the...
Oh no.
I mean,
I wasn't
that's a
there
long
when
time
she
ago.
owned the place across the street.
Right.
But the little saloon, she called it. I think
Yeah.
I have a shirt though.
Do you?
She gave me a lot of weird merchandise that nobody else has. And anyway, so she, when they were building the House of Blues, in the original room, there's a giant front window that you can see. It's a glass window you can see out of. And it has some names written on it.
A number of people have asked me why we don't get rid of that window.
Oh, yeah. Those people,
I love
quiet.
the window.
Too bad.
Well,
That window
so my
fucking
feeling is Mitzi
stays.
Shore put that window in.
Yeah.
Like, who am I to say get rid of the window, right? She
You
wanted
send them to me when they.
Yeah,
I will
okay, there
fight
you
them
go.
all. I'll
So,
fist fight them. and
I
then
made a
explain.
conscious effort not to change.
you,
the-
Anna.
I like the window because it feels like it's like an
the comedy
aquarium.
store.
You're looking
Yeah.
up. You're like,
That's what she wanted. Like you walk by and you get to see them, even though you can't really see them if you're walking by.
I
'cause it's
keep
all-
the window pleaser. I like.
Oh no,
you have the
we're not, it's
curtain.
not
You guys
going
put the
anywhere.
curtain
Yeah,
occasionally.
well,
Yeah,
we
the
did that because
curtain
we
is
do
fine.
earlier shows.
Yeah, but
and
don't
the light
ever
coming in
get
is
rid
killer,
of that window.
so.
It's so amazing. And then also, but when they were building House of Blues, I remember Mitzi was sitting in the original room in the bucket seats on the side, not the ones in the back. She was sitting and she was looking out the window, and I was like, "Oh, what is she doing?" Like in the booth, she was sitting, not bucket seats, and she's looking out the window. And I walked in, I was like, "Is everything okay?" And she's like, "No," and she was smoking a cigarette, and I'm like, "Okay, anything I can do?" Like, cause you're nervous, you're on edge, cause she fire you for nothing, so you had to be careful. And I was like, "Anything I can do for you?" And she was like, "Yeah, tell them to stop building this fucking building." And I was like, I can't tell them. You want me to go across the street? And there's all this construction happening. She goes, "They're gonna fuck up my view." And I was like, why would you want people looking out? Like,
What was there before?
It was
House of
nothing.
Blues?
You
Oh,
would just
really?
see
You could
that-
see the whole.
you-
I
you-
love how you could see the.
But you've
Oh, it's
noticed,
beautiful now.
But you've
Right now,
noticed
the
the
view is
view now,
spectacular.
right? Because
Yeah.
they knocked down the House of Blues. And so at that moment, I was so young, and I was just like, "Oh, okay," And I just walked out. I'm like, "Hey, she wants them to stop fucking working across the street." And they were like, "Don't listen to her." I'm like, "Okay." And then the House of Blues went up, and I didn't pay attention until they knocked it down.
Yeah.
This year,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
the
this year.
view is spectacular.
You can
I
see
feel awful. I'm like,
all of
"Mitzi,
Los
you should
Angeles."
come back. Like, this is crazy. Like,
It's
come
pretty
back and just sit here because it's so beautiful."
But that's gonna be something. They're building a hotel
Yeah,
there,
it's
right?
going to be a very large building, probably as tall as the Mondrian. You know, what's that?
Oh, God,
12
that's
That's going to
stories or
change.
something.
Are you nervous that may change the vibe or no?
No,
I think it would help. Hotels help us.
Well, yeah, I think hotels help. I think the added traffic, the foot traffic on the street will help. And I think right now, other businesses being on Sunset would help. We're really the only club in our little area, our section of the strip. We're it for entertainment. Then you have to go like 2 miles down the road to get to, maybe 1 mile down the road, but to get to the Whiskey and the Rainbow and all of that.
Yeah.
There just aren't that many clubs left on Sunset Boulevard. So
I agree.
I think it's
Saddle
great
Ranch.
when Sunset's a destination, and I think we all benefit on Sunset from it being a destination.
Sure.
So the more things that are there, so you're coming and you're going to something else, and you're like, oh, I forgot about the Comedy Store, and then people remember, and then the next time they plan a trip to us or they look us up online.
But I mean, what could be across the street? Maybe it's a crazy noise. Maybe how they make the valet, or
That's
are
what
you
they say
fearful
about
of
us.
that? Are you?
Yeah.
Do
It's
they
true.
really that?
Well, I used to have to go to the meetings in West Hollywood when they
Right.
started with the taxing on it,
Right.
like really high taxing, and the Comedy Store tax was enormously higher than a lot of the others.
Right.
And we were like, what the? Why? We don't have. Saddle Ranch has fights. You need security for Saddle Ranch. House of Blues has things like that. We don't even have fights. We're just a friggin' comedy club. And they were like, yeah, they just didn't. They said we made the most noise. They said the crowd on the front, like hanging out on the patio bar, was always loud. Leaving there, they were loud. They park in the hills, they're loud. I don't know if that was the staff or the actual, but
really?
you never know, because
I
the
think it was
staff.
probably the residents complaining
Well,
more
the
so
staff,
than
we parked behind the
Right,
thing,
yeah, well,
so
they still
we would all
sometimes do,
walk
they
up
park.
as a group and be loud, and so we were like, what the fuck, we're loud? But that's what they said
Yeah.
in West Hollywood.
now
we're the
West
loudest
Hollywood's
one.
happy that we're still there
Yeah.
because there's just nothing else. I mean, there's no other clubs near us.
They
It's
love
true.
the Comedy
It's come
Store,
full
though.
Circle.
Yeah, no, they're great to us. The city of West Hollywood's great to us.
And they've always been. It was just that we didn't understand why the tax was so high. They're very nice. They were always been
Oh, yeah.
really cool with us.
So-
And but they were adding security because there were so many stupid fights and stuff. So the taxes went up. And then we went to find out why. And you've never lived until you've seen the mayor of West Hollywood. He's joy. And oh my God, he was so funny. He was so flamboyant. I think he was wearing short shorts. I was like, okay, this can't be real. Are we in Reno 911? Like, it was that elaborate. And he just came in for a meeting. I was like, you don't even have a suit on. Like, it's amazing. He's just wearing a tank top.
So it's like a real deal to West Hollywood.
Oh yeah,
it's not like a joke.
It's
No,
a real deal.
But
They
the
have
mayor's not
weapons.
that way anymore.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean, like,
they
it's a
might have
different
got rid
mayor.
of her,
Yeah,
him,
that's
whatever it is now. I'm just saying, like, it was funny when we met with him. We were like, "What is happening?" But they were honest. I mean, they said we were the loudest, so that's why.
Yeah.
But now it's come full circle, and everybody is excited
Yeah.
that we're putting the foot traffic there.
But when that new hotel across the street comes up, maybe that's going to affect the sound. It's going to bounce back.
Ooh, right
could
now
be.
it's kind of
It like goes out.
it's
it
going
like goes
down
out.
the LAX.
Oh, out
or
into
something.
It goes out
it
into the-
sends a positive energy across the city.
It really does. I mean, what do you think? And now you're
Positive
going to get this
energy.
hotel, and you're going to
You
get
got
more.
it.
I think the only thing I don't
Then
like.
it would have our positive energy bouncing back to us.
There you go. The only thing I don't like
just
about
always on the
Sunset.
positive side.
I
That's
like
me.
this.
Yeah,
This
there
whole
you go.
vibe thing. I mean, I'm
It
going to get you a
matters.
shirt.
Vibe matters. The only thing I don't like about Sunset Strip.
Oh, I
are
thought you were
the-
going to say the Comedy Store. You know what I don't like about the Comedy Store? That's what I really need to know, actually. So.
I could
Oh,
tell
we'll
you
get
if
you
I
that.
had thought about it.
Really?
No, I don't need to think about it.
I don't have.
Just so
really,
you know, several people a week do
Really?
tell me what they don't like about the
Are
Comedy
you
Store.
kidding?
No, I'm
Obviously,
serious,
they
Really?
complain
Yeah,
about
some
the
people complain.
window.
If I had to think about it, I'd probably maybe have one or two. if
Would you
that.
really? Are you fucking kidding me? Really? No, I'm kidding. That's
No, I didn't think about it.
the
Oh,
window. People are
I like the
complaining
window.
about.
The only
Why
thing I
people
would
complain
say,
about the
Sunset
window?
Strip, I don't like the. Sometimes the cars are speeding a little much these days, just
Well,
in
yeah.
general anyway. But there's a lot of Armenian Persian racing.
Wait a minute.
You know, it's like Beverly Hills versus
I didn't know you were
Glendale.
going to get racy on the racing.
Well, that's what they're
insane,
doing.
Brody.
They're racing.
How do you know
they're
they're
racing.
Armenian? Like,
I know. I see
or
their
Persian,
cars.
rather.
I see where they're coming from. Beverly Hills are the Persian guys,
Glendale.
and if they make it to the Laugh Factory, it's like extended play, like when you're playing pole position. if
Oh,
you
my
pass that.
God.
I'm telling you, that's what it is.
I mean,
It's-
obviously, you have a...
You've given this some thought.
yeah.
I'm there every night. I watch these guys speed by. That's my only complaint.
Is okay. So that has
Or the speeding. I don't
just
like
so
speeding.
you know, that has nothing to do with the Comedy Store, though. That's the actual Sunset Strip, and nobody can control that. Like, I can't send Eric out there in like a neon top and
Slow that traffic down.
I mean, they could.
Maybe
could.
him and Holtzman, that would work.
They could.
Holtzman could do it.
So didn't they used to chase Robert Aprovia out into traffic? I guess that was
Oh.
to slow it down, right? On
There
Mondays?
you go.
That really upset me when they did that. But yeah, like there was a comic. If you don't know this guy, he's been at the. Some people talk about him on the podcast. A lot of people have asked me to have him on the podcast.
Oh, you should.
I would love to have Robert William Aprovia on the podcast, but we're gonna have to do it in an open arena because that scent is not. to
Oh,
be
it's got
confined.
body
So
odor.
for
No, it's worse
for
than
people
that.
who don't know, so Robert Aprovia is a stand-up comic. He's been at the Comedy Store for
A very long time.
20 years,
More than that.
25 years.
Yeah.
He established himself as the closing act of
Actually-
Potluck on Mondays.
Oh, just like me.
It might be 35 years. I'm going to be honest.
be.
Because, like, Robin Williams, when he came in,
Right,
he
he
had a
was like-
flashback.
he was like, "Oh my God,
what
Robert."
the fuck? That guy's still here? He freaked out. And then, but he wears the same green suit.
He wears
all
a
the
green
time.
suit.
He got a new one,
He-
though. Didn't they update it?
Right.
Yeah.
But he
He-
wears tinfoil underneath it
It's not tinfoil. It's those plastic
because
bags.
the
like,
radio waves sometimes affect his body.
Yes. Yeah, it does make
So-
total sense to him. He's a paranoid schizophrenic. But he also used to
Stand-up
be
comic.
a lawyer, and then he snapped, and then Mitzi felt bad for him because she loved his jokes prior to that.
Which he
wasn't
still
a
does.
Regular,
Same jokes?
Same ish.
Yeah,
Same-ish
same
jokes.
jokes.
Make Carson. It was all positive Carson jokes. And then when he snapped, she used to give him bus money so he can get to and from the Comedy Store to close out the...
What caused him to snap? And what?
I'm
what,
not sure.
What did he?
I-
Don Barris.
It might,
See, neither of you thought, no, that's not true, Eric.
neither of us were negating that in any way, shape, or form. However, I think it did happen a little bit before.
I believe so, too.
Don, and then Don just, how do you say, went with it?
Right. Well, when I got to the store, there was a whole act where he would go on, and there'd be a group of comics in the room that would make noises while he was performing, and then he would run away. They would chase him, and then he would run away.
And he would go
and
into
then
traffic
He would
with
run
the
into
microphone.
Sunset Boulevard
With the
in traffic
microphone?
with the microphone,
He'd take the microphone and he'd run out and he'd be on Sunset
and maybe still doing
Boulevard.
his act. I don't know. In the
it's-
middle of Sunset.
Okay, a little
kinda
bit he
funny.
was. It was
Yeah.
funny, but then
Funny,
a Persian
but-
comes
but-
whipping by.
Right. Dangerous.
Right,
A little
dangerous.
Or an
They're
Armenian.
racing,
And
yeah.
Right.
It's crazy.
So that happened. They chased him out there, and that doesn't go on as much anymore.
No.
Not
Well,
as much,
Yeah,
no.
that is-
Well, I
no.
got mad when
There's
he-
no chasing him out into the street anymore.
I got mad when he went into traffic. I was like, guys, it's one thing if you want to fuck with it. Okay, fine. He's got an act that you.
And at first you think, they're fucking with this guy and this is
Yeah,
disgusting and
but
wrong.
to go
But he shows up
outside.
every week. So he's
must
in
like
on,
it.
Yeah, he's in on the
He's
act.
in on it for sure.
He is in on it?
Ish.
He is.
He enjoys
Ish.
the attention.
Right.
He enjoys the light that like coming to the store. Hey, Robert. Everybody's like,
He's
hi,
afraid
Robert.
of me. And I did
What
like.
did you
I-
do?
I don't know what I did. Nothing.
You don't remember
Did you
at
touch
all.
him?
He
in
thinks
some
he calls
inappropriate
me
way?
a Nazi sympathizer.
Okay.
Well, he calls everybody that. That's
Is that what he still says that about? You're Nazi.
well, yeah, because
You're the
but he
Nazi
heard
voodoo
about you, and then
conspiracy.
that's why the
But Don Barris is very German looking, and even Mitzi used to call him the Aryan.
Don, yeah.
And so Robert picked up on that, and he's like, "This Nazi," because Don would pick on him. He called him a Nazi, and anybody in Don's gang is part of the Nazi
we
voodoo
don't call them a
conspiracy.
gang.
I'm sorry. Okay, you're right.
Group.
It's group. Group of gentlemen and one lady.
Right.
That yes, gentlemen.
Yeah.
And that they do this thing. They play, and every time Robert goes on stage, it's a whole thing. They throw whatever. But if you ever shined a light near him or talked
Oh, well, that
to
was
Don
when
Barris,
I got there too. Everybody had.
Oh, you can't
laser
shine a
po-
light on him.
No.
Freak
They
out.
would do laser pointers,
Yeah.
and of course he felt that was burning through his head, and so he would scream and.
This
run
is
out of
an
the room.
interesting thing that happened. You know, this all Me Too stuff coming out.
Hashtag
right?
Me Too.
Hashtag Me Too. Hashtag
I met you in 2000.
You molested.
Hashtag everybody
Met
So-
2000.
has been a Me Too. And
Never
so,
gets a laugh.
Never does. So Me Too comes out, and everybody's like writing all these things, and people are nervous. Like everybody's on edge. It's a whole thing. And I'm at the Comedy Store. I'm waiting to go on a Monday night. It's kind of late. And Robert William Aprovia comes up in his green suit, but he's missing the jacket and the shirt now because it's very hot in LA. So he's got shirtless, but he's got the green slacks on. And he's like, Eleanor, and he's holding his suit in his hand because he might have to put it back on. Eleanor, I have to apologize to you. I may have grabbed you inappropriately in 1998. I'm like, what the fuck happened? I'm like, dude, did you just go back to 98? And he goes, and you yelled at me and you said, don't touch me. And I was like, okay, because I was probably waiting tables and I'm surprised I didn't hit you with a tray. And so he was like, and you told me, don't touch me. And I just wanted to apologize and say I was inappropriate, but I want to say they were hitting me with laser tags and or laser lights.
Yeah, laser.
And that broke through, and that's what is messing with my brain, and that's why I did it. I go, did you just Me Too me with a fucking excuse? Did you just come at me?
You assaulted him.
I assaulted him?
Well, he assaulted you because he was assaulted.
You immediately took the man's side. Wow. He touched me. I don't even remember it, which I probably should remember.
You should remember. So you're
so you don't remember because it happened so many times at the Comedy Store that you're now immune to it?
It's probably that.
Or you feel like you kind of shame
You're
yourself.
part
You
of
feel
it.
like you brought it on.
Should have said something.
Because
I was wearing tight clothing.
You should have said something.
So I for sure was asking
Is
for
it the same outfit you have on right now?
This isn't a touchable outfit.
no,
Everybody
that's
can see that.
It's not too late to get him.
Well, Brody.
What? What?
I mean, this is an issue now.
He didn't. What I'm saying is, whatever he didn't do
See,
inappropriately.
this is the attitude towards Robert that gets everyone in trouble, right? That we can go get him.
Well, it's inappropriate. That's how it is.
Eddie
it's
Griffin.
2017.
So now he needs to
Eddie
be
Griffin
punished.
grabbed me inappropriately once.
Whoa,
And
that's
then
making news.
Eddie
This podcast
Griffin,
is
break
making
the
news
news.
now.
And then I grabbed him by his throat and pinned him against the wall. 'cause
Breaking news.
I'm an
Eleanor
animal.
attacking
Assaulted.
Eddie Griffin. Now he's assaulted.
But that one I remember.
And that was the end of his career?
So
Is
it's
that
a
what you're saying?
wash.
And it's not because he was black. I just remember it. That's all. It
That's
was
not what I
Robert.
heard.
I don't remember. He's always nice. Yeah, thank you. But yeah, Eddie was really oddly inappropriate and never had been that way. But that was the only time.
You were violent.
I am very violent. Dave Tyree smacked me in the ass. It's a long story.
You're naming names. This is
He's one of my
breaking news.
Yeah, that's
it doesn't
right.
matter. He's one
You're
of my
outing
favorite
everyone.
people.
I'm unfortunate. Some people said that about Eleanor. I'm going to be with you for these moments.
Is this a sympathetic male feminist? Are you trying to get laid? I mean, I'm just asking a question.
Yeah, I'm. Whatever you need. I'm here for
Are
you.
you hitting on Eleanor?
I'm
that
here.
What's going on here?
Eleanor, I have your back. I'll go with you to small claims court. I'll go.
Okay.
I'll give you my LegalZoom promo code. Anything to help you
Bring charges up against Aprovia
or whoever.
or Eddie.
I mean, it is crazy. Adam Sandler today is getting in trouble for touching a girl's
Are
knee.
you kidding?
I'm not kidding.
Whoa.
He's not kidding.
That's weird.
Even Sandler, if you watch it, he just touches the girl's leg, but
With his tongue?
Twitter freaked out.
With his dick? No, that's the only time
better
you go.
joke. There
you're
you go. That was good.
Well, this is a thing that happened for some reason at the Comedy Store. Somebody must have came in and we had a meeting during the dark ages, and they were saying we need to have a sexual harassment conversation with the staff.
Yep.
Right.
Now, God, I don't know how this happened, but they got us all in the kitchen. And at the time, your door guys were like Bobby Lee. I mean, it was a mess. Bob Oshak, Freddie Soto, we were all in the kitchen, and somebody's giving a speech. One of the managers was reading the pamphlet of what you can and can't do, and we're all looking at each other like, oh fuck, we already did all this. So what do we do?
Too late.
Yeah, he gave her piece. So what is that? Is this on the list? We were just fucking around, of course. And so the poor manager who just had to do it because that's what they make you do. We're all sitting there, and there's about 20 of us in the kitchen area, and I'm leaning on this where we keep our computers and stuff, and I'm just leaning on this desk hurry the fuck up, I got to get ready to start working. And as I'm leaning over, this comic came in, Dave Tyree, who I absolutely adore, and he smacked me so hard in the ass because I was sticking my ass out, and it echoed through the whole meeting. And I just stood up, I go, I'm gonna say this meeting's over. That was it. What are you gonna, this is where we work, guys. Get on board or don't. I know Brody is right now looking at me like small claims court we're going to the big
We can make
leagues.
some money off this. Let's take that
Right,
guy
you are
down.
still naming names. You're going right down the
I
list.
don't care. He's great.
But that's
he's one of my favorite people in the
That's
world.
how guys are. That's how the Comedy Store is. You're
No,
allowed, I mean,
that's
we
not
still
true.
do that.
The Comedy Store is not that way at all.
No, it's not.
Eric's the
Wait.
vice president.
See, now I got into trouble.
None of that happens at the Comedy Store. Yeah.
We need to put our disclaimer on,
that's
please.
Okay, edit this out. See, I just got into
It's a
trouble.
lot of beeping. It's
Comedy
a lot of
Store's a
beeping
safe
at
place.
this point. Where's Ari Manis? Yeah, he would mess this up for sure. So yeah, I mean, the Comedy Store has been an amazing roller coaster, and it's fun. I mean, it's not funny. There actually is real sexual harassment and suits and things, people inappropriate. But we work in an inappropriate building. So
Well, it's an inappropriate
technically.
business. I mean, you're stand-up comics,
I know,
right?
but
You're
you
always
can't-
trying to take, everything to the next
and
level, or
most of it is goofing,
Yeah.
and none of it. But if it was ever serious, like I said that one time when it was serious with Eddie, I got physical, and then he immediately apologized. Like he was like, I don't even know what the fuck I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like immediately, like, and we've been friends ever since. I would never be like, oh, if somebody crossed the line, really crossed the line, you call them out.
no,
and that's it.
we're pretty clear with the
Yeah.
staff of what we think. If
The
anybody's
minute
crossing
you
the
leave,
line,
we all
if
have
you feel
orgies,
super
so you
uncomfortable
know.
to come to what?
The minute you leave, we all have orgies. It's
But there's a
uncomfortable.
dress code, and the girls can't have tattoos, right? They have to have their
What?
hair up. I thought they can't
Exact-
wear heels.
No,
What
of
are they,
course, that's-
Jewish? What do you mean you can't have tattoos?
Why? I thought
Half of the staff is
that's the
covered in
rumor.
tattoos.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
It's true.
You can get
That's true.
tattoos in the back of
The girls that
Comedy
you see
Store
with the
now.
tattoos, they don't actually
It's
work
like
there.
prison.
That's
What?
the girls with the tattoos. They don't actually work there. That's the
No. Yeah, we let them
Right, carry trays of drinks.
What's
In
the
and out of
computer
rooms.
system do you guys use for the?
Whoa.
Is it Squirrel?
No, squirrel.
Guess again.
Micros?
No.
That's all I know.
Oh, there's only one more. It's Aloha.
Aloha?
Yes.
Oh, that's from Hawaii.
Very good.
That's where their corporate offices are.
Obama donated them.
Oh,
No?
does
All
it
right.
work?
Too long?
No.
Too soon?
Too soon, too long.
Only half the time? All right.
Why do you feel like it doesn't work? Did you experience some type of problem with that?
Never.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I stay away from. I know.
Yeah.
I was a waiter. I used to work at Red Robin. It was pretty good.
Were you really?
I heard that.
Yeah, I waited
Both.
tables also.
That's great.
I was- I-
How
I-
long ago?
This was back
weeks.
in 2 weeks ago. Thanks, Eric.
I'm glad things are working out now.
Vice
no, I had-
president. Vice president of the Comedy Store.
No, I
by
do
the
a
way.
joke. I go,
Vote
I have
for
two other.
Pence.
I have two other jobs. I work at Dave and Buster's. That's one of my. That's one.
Guys, we're doing bits now.
That's right.
But that's one of my jokes.
Yeah.
That's one
Who's
of my
getting
jokes.
ready for the 11:45 show? What? Hey. That's a great joke.
I waited tables at Red Robin.
Is that the endless fries?
You got
thing?
it. Fry refill. I still.
Yeah.
I love fry refills. I throw a coaster down. That's my table. I don't know if you girls fight over tables, but
Eleanor did. Eleanor's still fighting them for
I
tables.
throw a
Never fought
coaster
over
down.
tables.
That's
You
my
only
table.
had because when you worked there was only 4 tables per room,
Hey,
right?
we had.
That's what's-
Listen, let me tell you what we had that you'll
Oh.
never have.
Oh, yeah?
By the way, because he's gone. Anyway, we had Richard Pryor for 1 year every Wednesday night,
Really?
jam packed in the original room. Do you remember that?
I don't think I was around.
Richard Pryor came back. He started doing Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. That was the busiest I'd ever seen until now, newish. But this was even crazy busier because it would be like Whoopi Goldberg, Chevy Chase. People were sitting in the aisles, like where the walkways. So we would have to step over people to serve drinks. Richard called me a bitch from stage.
Well, he must
Well,
have known you.
More
His-
salt. Way to
True,
go.
but his wife wouldn't let me give him alcohol, so it was water. He asked for a toonie, which is a martini, and I gave it to him, but it was water, and he drank it, and he was like, "Bitch," and he threw the drink, and I was like, "Oh my God, Richard Pryor just called me a bitch."
So they would all come to see Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
And was he doing his new bits, old bits? Was it him? Was
No,
it
just-
sad? Was it funny?
It was a little bit
interesting?
of both. It was a little mix of both because sometimes Chewy had to carry him on stage. So he was in the wheelchair at that point, and Jen would take him in, his wife. I think she was number 4 and number 8. Anyway, he has a lot of wives. And she would bring him in. Chewy would carry him on stage, sit him on a stool, and he really would just somewhat riff. I mean, it was insane. Like,
And
tell
he
you.
could
Was
speak
it funny?
okay?
Oh my God, it was amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, tell you what his life was like whatever
up
he
in a
was at
poorhouse, right?
therapy. No, whatever this day was
Oh,
like.
this day was
almost
like.
like clearing, like telling you like what his therapy was like that day. The nurse, this whore, that bitch. It was just everybody was. It was very funny, and then he would shit on Jen because she used to hit him a lot. I'm kidding.
How long would he do? Like an hour?
He would do like an hour. Yeah.
In the original room on a Monday, so he'd bump
On
the
a
whole
Wednesday.
show.
No, but you're
He
saying it
did-
was his show. You knew he
It was
coming,
Richard's
and he
show.
did.
Yeah, it was Richard's show. It was Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
3 nights.
And then he only came down to Wednesdays because it was so hard to come Monday, Wednesday,
George
Friday.
Carlin used to do the main room all the time.
We had
He'd go on these
George-
runs. Like
we had
crap.
George for 8 nights, I think. We had Jackie Mason
Oh,
for
I'd love to have
12
seen that.
nights. That was incredible.
I remember that.
It was incredible in that it was so packed. And this was Mitzi trying to salvage, calling in old favors.
Right,
kind
and
of
having
thing.
people come down.
also.
Yeah, Tony, yeah.
That was-
Andy Kaufman, Tony Clifton,
We had that.
Did you have the Andy Kaufman, Tony Clifton, or did you have
Yes.
Bob Zamuda.
Bob Zamuda, right?
Yeah.
They had a
Yeah, Bob
wrestling
Zamuda.
match in the main room. They put a wrestling
Oh,
ring in
I
there.
heard about that.
But Jackie Mason, we would get like between 405 and 410 people in that main room. And that's not what it seats.
I'm not saying what it's.
Okay. But we would have the fire marshal show up and I'd be like, hi. And I'd like take him in the back. You guys should come back here. Because it was so hard to get through the main room.
Yeah.
Serving teas to old Jews from Beverly Hills. Amazing. By the way.
So Jackie Mason, he would pack it in there.
Packed. He did 12 nights straight and he was amazing. He was brilliant. So
Nice
I mean,
guy.
I mean,
so
sucker.
nice. So
I mean,
nice, so
genius.
funny.
Yeah.
Robin
so
Williams
funny,
was
but
hanging
like-
out.
Williams.
Robin Williams did some shows. Martin Lawrence did his community service there
The
How
community service
dare
for
you.
losing his mind in the middle of the street.
on Ventura Boulevard. Absolutely
Wow.
right. Absolutely right. He was waving a gun, and his community service was to give back. So he did a show for them, and he did it at the Comedy Store. It
So
was
he-
packed.
Well, I bet it was.
So there were some like cool moments back then. The
We had
Comedy
some
Store is
great-
always like
yeah, because it had such a history. It was just going through a lull itself because those comics that came up were on the road or became superstars or
Yeah.
for a while Mitzi used to try to get us, like when she put a new paid regular to sign something to say they would perform at the store 2 times a year if they were giant celebrities.
But I also want to say not only that the management, the comedians, but the social media is
Yeah,
like
we
the
already,
top.
we already gave Brent Biddlecombe
Oh,
a
you
big
did?
shout out.
Yeah, but
Yes,
we didn't
we
want to
did.
do it in front of him.
Because
Okay, that's-
you see the other clubs do it, and it's not organic; it's forced. I
It's
feel like the
not only
Comedy Store
forced-
social media seems to be fairly like nice and honest.
So when I got
put
to the
good
club
pics of me on
and
there.
Brenton took over the social media, a comic had come to me and he said, "Look, I don't know what you guys are doing for social media." He goes, "But I'll tell you, before you got here, there was no social media. Like I never saw the Comedy Store ever on social media. Like I didn't see anything about them." He said, "Now I get up in the morning, I check all my different social media." He said, "And I feel like I missed out on a party.
Yeah.
Like I felt like there's something going on, and
Yeah.
I wasn't there. What was I thinking?"
Yeah, you made a
And-
mistake.
yeah, and now I think that's a daily thing, and I think that's obviously because of Brenton.
I
Brenton,
agree.
Right there,
I
this guy
agree.
is putting out
killing it,
positive
man.
energy.
And I'll tell you what the other clubs I've noticed are doing. They're just mirroring one another. Like sometimes I'll see.
Yeah.
I'll see an ad and I'll be like,
For those of you
"Oh,
sitting
I'm-"
here, Brenton is wearing the teal T-shirt over
Yeah,
there. That's
if you can't
her
see him.
singing
yeah.
his praises.
Is the gorilla coming in? Is the
Yes.
gorilla coming in? Oh.
The
There's
Phoenix
we're
gorilla, the
in
Phoenix
a
Suns gorilla?
we're in a
Is he there?
storefront,
Yeah. Did they
and
win
there
or
was a
lose?
big gorilla in the window. It's
You
obviously
gotta,
Halloween
you can't
too.
ignore the gorilla in the room. Isn't that the saying? He's gone?
He's
All
gone.
right, we lost him. Do we have to wrap it up? Do we have a... Okay, we can wrap
sorry.
it up because we got to get ready to do...
I'm tired of talking to you anyway. So,
I got to go across the street and do the show.
We're going to go do some
are you going to do the Brody show?
stand-up comedy. We're going
I
to...
Hour and a
will.
half.
Brody's going to close it out. He's going to do like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours.
You got it. Crowd work.
Look at this,
No,
Brody.
I'm doing a
Everybody-
short set tonight. I'm doing a short set.
You don't want to do a long
We can bring the
one
lights
just for
down in
these
here.
guys?
I'm on
do that.
vacation. I'm in a 6-minute, kind of thing.
6-minute kind of mood.
You're compressing your entire act into 6 minutes. You're
You're
only
like-
doing 6 minutes of your act.
6 minutes.
6 minutes, Dougie Fresh.
Compression.
You're on.
It's been a great podcast festival.
Yes, this has
Yeah.
been amazing.
We
Are
got
we the
more
last
tomorrow.
podcast?
Are we the last of the festival?
Oh, you closed it with the Comedy Store podcast? Here, all right, calm down. Closing words. We are in the Kinnison
Wow,
spot.
that's interesting.
In that
what
we're
are
all
the
going to do
odds?
coke after this to
Yes,
get
we're
through
all
the
gonna
next
do-
show.
And I did the first
What?
one today too.
Bunch
I've
of
done
coke and-
3,000 audience warm-ups, and then I did the first podcast today here, and I did the last one. It's like a lot of connections.
So many connections, Brody, and they're all positive
Yes.
connections. That's just amazing.
You
Huh?
got it.
What'd you say? Lot of energy.
matters.
Energy matters. All right, Eric Anderson, thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming on.
Thank you.
Brody Stephen, thank you for jumping in as
You
my
got it.
sidekick. I appreciate it. Thanks, All Things Comedy.
Yes.
Comedy Store. Love you.